Gravitas, powered by Skoda, made of smart imagination.
Meanwhile, 14 million women have been denied control over their bodies. They have been denied the right to abortion, and we're not talking about Afghanistan. We're talking about the United States of America. This is not Taliban country. It's the land of sweet freedoms and liberties, the United States, specifically the state of Texas. They have passed a new law on abortion. It's called the Heartbeat Act. Ironic, considering how heartless the law is. Here's what it says. Any doctor who performs an abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy can be taken to court. In other words, no abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy. Who can file this lawsuit? Anyone. Maybe an Uber driver who drove you to the clinic. Or a patient you met at the waiting room. Anyone can sue doctors for performing an abortion. They could even walk away with $10,000 in damages. Let that sink in. A total stranger can stop a woman from getting an abortion in Texas, United States, and they get $10,000 in the process. Texas has truly outdone itself. How is any of this legal? Abortion in the United States is guided by a landmark Supreme Court case, Roe versus Wade. It says that women can get an abortion until the fetus is viable. That's usually around 22 to 24 weeks. So most people expected the US Supreme Court to strike down the Texas law. Well, they were wrong. On Wednesday, the top court in America upheld this legislation. It was a split judgment. 5 judges supported the law, 4 of them opposed it. How exactly did that happen? Well, some are calling it a technicality, but frankly, it's an evil conspiracy. And let me explain how. Usually, laws are implemented by the state. Government officers are required to investigate and report illegalities. This Texas law is different. It asks citizens to report and uphold the law, not the state, which is why the Supreme Court dismissed the legal challenge. Don't think this was a coincidence. Texas framed the law this way on purpose to circumvent Roe versus Wade, to ensure that the Supreme Court would uphold it. This is a criminal attempt to control women's bodies envisioned by an elected governor and defended by a Supreme Court. Some of the provisions in the law are barbaric. For instance, no abortion even in cases of rape and incest. A 6-week deadline for abortion, 6 weeks? Most women don't even realize they're pregnant at that point. But Texas does not care.
Our Creator endowed us with the right to life. And yet, millions of children lose their right to life every year because of abortion. In Texas, we work to save those lives.
That was the Texas governor, Greg Abbott. How do you respond to politicians like this? Greg Abbott talks about millions of children losing their right to life. And who exactly are these children? We are talking about unborn fetuses. Some of them are unplanned pregnancies. This is not right to life. This is about controlling a woman's choice. Women in America are livid. Hundreds of them are protesting in Texas. They cannot believe that this is happening in 21st century America. Unfortunately for them, there is more bad news. Activists say the Supreme Court could consider reversing Roe versus Wade, basically ban abortion across the United States.
I mean, look, we are incredibly disappointed. You know, essentially what happened in Texas is that they turned the clock back 50 years. It is an incredibly dark day. And in not responding in this moment, the Supreme Court has effectively overruled Roe v. Wade for women in Texas.
Will the US Supreme Court do it? It's certainly possible. Conservative judges hold a majority in the court. If they want to, they can strike down abortion laws. What does President Joe Biden say? This extreme Texas law blatantly violates the constitutional right established under Roe versus Wade and upheld as precedent for nearly half a century. It will significantly impair women's access to health care they need, particularly for communities of color and individuals with low incomes. Well, he's saying the right things, but can he implement them? The White House wants the US Congress to take the lead, basically codify Roe versus Wade as a law. It may sound easy, but in the US, abortion is a political minefield. Recent polls say 54% Americans support the right to abortion. That's a majority. But still dismally low for a basic right like abortion. And politicians use these numbers to their advantage. They rile up conservatives with sermons on the sanctity of life. But what about women and their lives? What about their hopes, their personal choices? No answers. This law could set a precedent across America. Women in Texas will now have to travel out of state for abortions. Some may depend on self-medication. All of this could have been avoided if only society could bury its ego and narrow thought. Texas is a lesson for the world. You don't need medieval regimes to mistreat women. Men in Western suits are equally capable because democracy is not the full stop in the campaign for equality. It's the beginning of a long and hard struggle. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Gravitas, powered by Skoda, made of smart imagination.